On this episode, they didn't get around to it, so I gave them one. This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show. Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is episode 150 of the Ask Jason Show. That feels sort of milestone-ish. Are you getting a coaster? Okay, you can make a little bit of noise. I want one too. Just don't be an idiot about it. I wish the camera could see how anticlimactic that was. So Joe was like gonna pass me a coaster and he was like, okay. It's like, good job, bro. Good job. All right, can I have another one? Do it right this time. Woof! I would like to point out that I did make the save. I just created a rebound high off the glass. All right, so this topic, this conversation, is an evolution of the last one, sort of. How sometimes we think that when I'll say we, I don't want to say, okay, for this point of the conversation, I'm a seller. I'm talking about we as us who want to sell our houses, not so much a realtor who wants to do the marketing and procure the business. When we put our houses up for sale, we want to simultaneously reduce our own stress and anxiety, make the process easy for us, but we want to get the most amount of money for them, which means we also want to make it easier for the buyer. Because the harder your house is to buy, the less people are going to buy it or try to buy it, which means the demand is lower. We've talked about this a million times, which means it sells for less. So the easier house to buy sells for more money. And I don't think I need to walk through the steps of that. Like, we've been through this. The house that's easier to buy sells for more money on average. We had a conversation in the last episode about how selling a property, advertising a property as is, could deter people from it. And that's a whole nother conversation. But it got me thinking about some other stuff. And in the Ask Team group chat, we were having a conversation did I just say conversation weird? I did, didn't I? We were having a conversation in the Ask Team chat just the other day before yesterday, and one of the agents was saying, like, so this is what I'm doing, this is what I asked for, and this is what the listing agent said, and I just don't, like, okay, like, why? Like, I don't, why? And it made me think that this is something that, this is another example of trying to do the right thing, but it coming out the wrong way. And it's just a bit of advice for when you put your house up for sale. Not every transaction, but nearly every single transaction that gets done in real estate, if there is a dwelling, if there is a house and it's not just a vacant piece of land or something like that, there are going to be certain things that are going to make up part of this agreement of purchase and sale. These will be conditions. There will be a survey and real property report, which effectively is a written description using coordinates on the earth, like degrees, latitude, longitude, and everything, or GPS coordinates, to determine where the boundaries of the land are and where the house sits on that boundary, and also a visual representation of that same information-ish. That will be a part of your deal so that we can accurately identify what is being bought and sold. Chances are there will also be something called a property condition disclosure statement, which is effectively, not exactly an affidavit, but effectively it's a list of questions about the condition of the property and any changes, damages, repairs done in the last 5 years or since it was owned, depending if you've owned it for less than 5 years. And it's stuff about insulation, electrical, the water system, the sewer system, is there leaks or dampness in the roof and walls, like all these different things. And are there encumbrances, all of the different things you could think of that would be important to be disclosed up front if you are aware of them as a seller. And also you have other things like, what's your heating costs? Like, how much does it cost to just have this place livable in the winter. People are concerned about energy efficiency. They want to know, like, do I have a $200 light bill or do I have a $400 light bill? Like, these are things that people care about, whether it's electric, whether it's oil, like how much wood do you cut a year? Like, these are things that people want to know. They're not hard bits of information to gather. I can give all of my sellers a property condition disclosure statement, and they can fill it out because it's one of few forms that we're not allowed to fill out and just have you like sign, kind of. You need to answer the questions. Like, you need to, and it's a list of questions in check boxes. Yes, no, I don't know, doesn't apply. That's it. And it's a bunch of those. Then you sign it at the bottom. And if somebody is going to buy your house, almost all of them will ask for a property condition disclosure statement. Some lawyers won't close a deal unless there's one in there, just because they've seen it go wrong if you don't. It protects you. It protects both sides. Everybody needs either an existing survey or a real property report, or a new one to be created in order to process the transaction. And a great deal of people want to know what the utility costs for a property are. So, if you're selling your house, have those things available. Why not? It's not a deterrent to anybody who wants to buy your house that they can see these things. And if some of it is a deterrent to selling your house, then why would you not use that up front to disqualify buyers who are going to waste your time with a viewing when you're already burning the mac and cheese and you got to get out for somebody to come in and see your place just so they can come in, like it, write an offer, everybody gets excited, have a look at your survey and be like, no, I can't build my garage back there with that easement. You could have saved everybody a whole bunch of time if you just saw the survey up front. These are important things that make transactions better. They make them possible. So if you are selling your house, if you plan to sell your house, get a copy of the survey if you have it. If you don't, okay. But it does exist because when you bought the place, it was a part of the deal. Get that, get your heating costs, and fill out a property condition disclosure statement. And give them to your agent. Your agent can upload them onto your listing. I can go and there's like a document section on every single listing on MLS, every single one of them. There is a documents section. There's not always something in it, but it's always there. So if I'm calling and I call your agent because I want to show somebody your house, and I ask your agent, hey, can you send me a copy of the survey? I want the survey, property condition disclosure statement, and I'd like the last couple years heating costs, please. Well, we'll make those available with an offer. Like, I'm not gonna write an offer without them. Like, these are important things to us. Okay, well, come see the house, and if you like it and you wanna write an offer, I'll get you the survey. Like, I'm not gonna write an offer on a house that I don't know the building lot of. Like, what? I'm not gonna write an offer on a house for my client who wants to build a garage in the back without knowing whether or not there's room for it. Okay, all right, I'll send you the survey. But if you want a property condition disclosure statement, just put that in the offer. No. It says on your listing, I don't know if you know this or not, your realtor checks a box to say whether or not a property condition disclosure statement is available on the document that you sign that says you have the permission to sell my house and I'll pay you this much money. It's up on MLS now. They check a box that says whether or not it's available. So if it says on the listing that it's available, I want it. You're telling me it's available. Give me the thing you said is available. Well, I mean, I don't have it done up yet. I just haven't gotten around to it. Well, get around to it. They're not. Here, one sec. Hold on now. Let me see if I can make this work. Try again, I messed it up. There you go. There's your round to it. There's your round to it. You have it. You have it. Take it. Do you want a picture? I'll email it to you. I haven't gotten around to it. Here it is. It's round. To it. It's round. Do it. It's your job. You put it on the thing. And I know that what you're trying to do is limit your workload. I get it. You want to limit your workload until your workload is going to produce a transaction. Understand. I get it. But you're wrong. Because what you're doing is putting a sour taste in my client's mouth before we even go look at your house. So Joe calls me. He's like, hey man, I want to go look at that place at 123 Main Street in St. John's. Yeah, okay, cool. But I mean, you remember the last deal that we did. We got that property condition disclosure statement, and because there's a section on it that says, have all necessary permits been issued for improvements to the property? And so we got that one, and they didn't do permits when they put their apartment in, and I'm not getting into that tangle. God knows what's in there. So I want to see a property condition disclosure statement first. Of course you do. Obviously. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll ask for it. They don't have it. What do you mean they don't have it? It says on the listing it's available. Yeah, she didn't get around to it. I'm gonna draw her one. I'm gonna give her around to it. So hopefully we'll have it soon. But it's gonna take a little while. No. I'm not getting into that again. No, I'm not doing it again. Are you sure, man? It's a good house. I don't know. I don't get good vibes. Just don't feel right. Okay. That's it. Next. All because you didn't have your around to it. So, yeah, you're accidentally deterring people. Same goes for your survey, same goes for your heating costs. Just get them. Just get them. Recently, our team put up a business for sale, a business and all of its real estate assets. It had been for sale on and off multiple times for 6 or 8 years. It was a while. The first thing that we did, even before we listed the property, was we took their historical data, their profit and loss statements, all of their financials, for as far back as they had. We deconstructed it, we put it into a spreadsheet, a historical one, and then we did a projections one based on all of what the government is saying for this particular industry moving forward, and all of that was available, and there was a non-disclosure agreement that we had that anybody who wanted these financials had to sign in order to get it. All that was done before the house went up for sale, for the property went up for sale. And then it sold because the work was done. The same investors who bought that went to look at another property. I called the listing agent and booked the property, and I said, and feel free to, we'll obviously sign a non-disclosure agreement, but send me the financial statements for the last couple of years, please. Send you what? Financial statements. I mean, I don't have financial statements. Well, are you selling, are you not selling the business? You're just selling like this building? No, she's selling the business. Well, make them a condition of the offer. I don't know how much it's worth unless I see the financial statements. How can I make it a condition? Here's our offer. We will buy this business for some amount of money. The amount is conditional on review of your statements. Can you get that signed? Is that a deal? No, that's not even legal. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble. Give me a second. I'm reminded of an old Tim Baker lyric from Hey Rosetta. This is how I feel. That's just the lyric. This is how I feel. Anyway, he also said, maybe I'm just a really pretentious guy. So it's possible, they're in the same song. So it's possible that both of those are accurate for me. That is from Plan Your Escape, great EP by Hey Rosetta from way back in the day, probably close to 20 years ago. All right, I think that's everything that I have to say. Did I get that a point across, Joe? Yeah? So if you're selling your house, have the stuff available. And if your realtor doesn't ask you for those things, maybe you, am I allowed to say maybe you hired the wrong person? Am I allowed to say that? Joe's shaking his head, yes. Am I allowed to say, did you already sign? These are fundamentals. These are the basics. They're the basics. The cost of entry into doing a good job as a realtor to sell somebody's house, we're talking about selling houses now, the cost of entry is higher than it's ever been. And people are locked into these thoughts as listing agents. They're locked into these thoughts that they don't need to do the due diligence and prep ahead of time. They don't need to do any of these things because inventory is low. And it has been low, so things just sell. So the cost of entry is higher. All of the other stuff has always been good enough. But guess what isn't good enough? Good enough. Good enough is not good enough. So if good enough is good enough for you, enjoy your good enough. But I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a little bit pretentious and preachy here now. So I'm going to cut it off, and we're gonna leave it there. Here's a good way to lighten up. Speaking of cutting it off, there's like 4 or 5 inches of my hair gone. And my girlfriend cut it. How did she do? It's not bad, right? It's pretty good. Yeah. You did a great job, Sam. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching this episode 150. And we'll see you. I was gonna say on the bicentennial. What the? All right, we'll just see you next time. 151. Hopefully, I make it that far. The Ask Jason Show exists so that you can get good real estate related information from a resource that you can trust. Now, speaking of resources you can trust, here's a couple I would trust to work with my mom. Because good enough for mom, I mean, good enough for you.